this is a autonomous Tesla. So when I go like this, it's gonna drive itself now.
Oh, you want to do autonomous driving?
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
Do you use it a lot?
I use it all the time. Yeah, I definitely use it all the time.
It's true. I use FSD, Tesla Full Self-Drive, FSD, as an Uber driver, and I love it. I really do. And to my fellow Uber drivers, I can hear you. It's like I'm teaming up with Skynet, and Terminator 2 is going to take over the world. I don't have an answer to that. The reality is that autonomous artificial intelligence, robotics are going to take all of our jobs. So me as one person just using Tesla FSD is not going to change much. But I have some thoughts, and I want to answer some of your questions that I've been getting. And I think the first question I want to answer is, why do I use Tesla FSD? Why? I'm driving a car. I don't need it. And I don't need it. And why would I pay $109 a month for this offering? I think it cost me more money, so it's not for the money. That's for sure. I guess the first way to explain it is that I feel it's safer. The reality is it drives, even in hurry mode, there's like three modes: chill, standard, and hurry. Even in hurry mode, it's pretty safe. Like, it makes better decisions than most human drivers would. A good example is like if you're going to turn left across traffic, it does a really good job of waiting till the right moment to do it. Um, another good example would be like right on red or coming to a stop sign or something like that. The car comes to a complete stop, which, by the way, I think frustrates a lot of the drivers around me. Good example is right on red. Most people treat that like a yield. They don't come to a complete stop. In fact, nobody comes to a complete stop anywhere. And so it's a little bit aggravating when a vehicle in front of you comes to a complete stop. And I think the same thing is true with like turning left against across traffic. It's cautious. The FSD is cautious, so it doesn't. It could. There are times when I would be like, "Oh, I'm going to take that. I can turn," and the car doesn't, and it's frustrating to me too. It's just ultra safe, and so I feel safer. I feel like the car is doing kind of the heavy burden of the driving, keeping me in the lane and things like that. And then I can also now, in addition to monitoring it, I can see other things around me that are going on and pay attention to that. Um, so it's safer. The second thing I like about it is that it extends my day. Think of FSD as like cruise control, lane keep assist cruise control. I'm sure you have those cruise control things that monitor the distance you have between cars and stuff like that. That can change lanes. It's the same thing. It just operates on all the roads. It doesn't just operate only on the highway. It does a great job in city traffic, and it will navigate a city. It'll turn right, left. It'll stop at lights. It just does a really good job in the city. So it's almost the same thing. And if you're on a long road trip, you would use cruise control because it makes driving easier, more comfortable. Well, it does the same thing for me as an Uber driver. And when I drive my Uber, I go for 8, 10, 12 hours at a time. And so it just makes me feel more refreshed. Um, there's that part to it. And the third reason why I use Tesla FSD as an Uber driver is that it's a conversation starter. And not even a starter of a conversation. It's safer for the passenger. It's safer for me. It extends my day. But I think a lot of people are intrigued by it. I'd say half of my passengers, when I turn it on, I tell them I'm going to use it, and they acted the way those passengers did also. They're like, "Oh, let me see it." And then they want to talk about it. And I don't mind talking about that. It's better than small talk about the weather. So um or where are you from? Where are you from? The it's better than that kind of small talk. So when a passenger, if they want to talk, they gives them something to talk about. I've only had one passenger adamantly say no, no. And it was a guy, you know, who, hates Trump and Elon, thinks that Teslas are the worst car ever. They spontaneously blow up and that it'll kill me. So I don't think he was all there. I don't think he was all there. All my other passengers, they don't really think about it. In fact, most of my passengers, once they get over the initial wonder of it, like, wow, look at it, it turns and it navigates, we they either put their headphones on and sit back and relax, or we talk about something else or whatever. But until we get to the destination, they don't even think about it. Which leads me to the broader issue at hand. Tesla just came out with Robotaxi, and they're doing the autonomous functionality there in Austin, this small little area in Austin. And I have a lot of thoughts toward it. And there's a part of me that is like a lot of humans, very doomer. The world is going to end because of artificial intelligence and robotics. My job, I'm telling you, it's going to take our job as Uber drivers. It's done. You're done. There's no way they're not going to have autonomous cars replace Uber driving. I think autonomous cars are going to replace all driving at some point in time in the future. Um, so there's a part of me that's both super interested and curious about it and very freaked out about the future of humanity kind of thing. And it's not just Tesla and Robotaxi or Waymo. It's AI coming for your job as an accountant too. So if you're an accountant or a lawyer or you do anything, AI is going to come and get your job too. Let me give you a quick story just toward that. I Uber drive in a college town, and there are students that graduated 2025 with a degree in computer science, and they can't find a job. Not as a computer science person. Now imagine 4 years ago, there was this, meme, this mantra, just learn to code. If you could learn to code, software engineer, your future was set. So imagine graduating high school, saying, okay, just learn to code. I'm going to go to college and learn to code. And then all of a sudden, by the time you graduate, that profession has been radically changed. So all the big companies, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, none of them are hiring new entry-level software engineers for the most part. And it's I've vibe coded. I'm learning how to code. Everybody's going to do it. It's not going to be a profession anymore. And that's just one example. So, but Robotaxi and what's happening there with that. Well, I love FSD and I'm a Tesla fan. I'm a fanboy, you name it. But I would not let people in my personal car without my supervision. Not yet, at least. There's got to be some solutions. I think I have a couple of ideas. But with Robotaxi, the idea is that every Tesla, if you're a Tesla owner, for the most part, you can turn your car on. Let's say you drive to work, you turn your car on, and it becomes an autonomous vehicle driving around, earning money for you while you're at work or something like that. And maybe I'm just a clean freak, but I'm going to tell you, I think people will destroy your car. And there's not enough cameras to solve this. There just isn't. There just isn't enough cameras to solve this. Yesterday, I took 20 people in my Uber, or 20 rides, or give or take, and two of them, if they weren't supervised, they would have made a huge mess. One guy was just like eating a bag of chips, greasy chips, potato chips, greasy, and he wiped his hand on the seat, and you would have noticed it on a camera, but I could hear him eating the chips. So as soon as he got out of the car, I literally didn't even drive off anywhere. As he got out, I parked the car and I walked around and looked, and then he's like, "What?" And I go back and open the back door, and there's greasy mess. And I'm like, what did you do? And now I can't report that to Uber. I'm not even going to waste my time trying to get 5, 10, 20 bucks from Uber because they're not going to answer that. Whatever. So I get screwed out of that. I get some cleaning solution and I clean that because the next passenger is going to see that. And that guy, if I wasn't in the car, he wouldn't have just wiped it there. He probably left the potato chips in the floor bed of the car. I'm telling you, you can't put cameras down there in the floor bed of the vehicle. So your car is going to get demolished. And that's just potato chips. Here's some other examples. I think people will really cut up your seats. I think there are malicious people. There really are. There are people that will actually cut your seat and then you'll have, torn fabric and things like that. And I think they don't act that way because there's somebody in the vehicle with them. And that's an exaggerated thing because that's never happened to me, but I think there are people that would damage it. My Tesla has like a hole in one of the speakers where somebody had knocked like the speaker cover and cracked it. And I was in the car. Who knows what it's in? Who do you blame for that? Without supervision, it's just going to get destroyed. Look at New York subway as just an example. So, look at that dump of a subway system. Now, okay. The other part to it though, that's damage. Here's some simple things that I think people are not even being malicious. They're being careless with your vehicle. If it's raining or if it's snowing, especially if it's snowing, let's just say Tesla FSD works amazing in the snow and you turn your car and you're just going to go out and earn money in the snow. And let's just say, forget the idea that it's going to wreck or whatever. People will open your car and the first thing they do is bring their snowy feet into your vehicle. Now, if you're in the north, you know what I mean. You got to turn. When you get into a car, you sit down and you got to tap your feet, right? You got to tap your feet to knock off all the snow before you turn and get in your car. And if it was your personal car, that's what you would do. But for an autonomous car, you're not going to do that. You're just going to jump in the car. And I can hear you, if you're in the south, you're like, well, get some rubber mats. Well, okay, well, here's what the rubber, weatherproof mats will do. The snow is sitting in there, but your car is warm. It'll melt. So now your car is going to be like this sloshing thing of water back there because people are just bringing snow into your vehicle. There'll be grossness all over the windows and all over the handles. I don't know. I clean my car 2-3 times a day. And so maybe I'm just meticulous, but I'm just telling you people will destroy your car. So I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Not right now, not without some sort of system, a solution toward that. Let me give you some other thoughts about Robotaxi though, that had their release here. I've got my notes here. Okay. Look at here. The assistant. If you've watched any of the videos of the Tesla Robotaxi, they have an assistant sitting in the car on the right-hand side in the passenger seat. And that's so dumb. That's really dumb. Because here, if you could put the assistant in the driver's seat, you could do the exact same thing that I do right now. You just take over when you need to take over. I know Tesla's trying to prove that it's autonomous, but it'd be better almost just to build a customer base to some extent and just tell them that the person sitting there is just sitting there. And now imagine you could actually turn on that network everywhere. People like me, I would do Robotaxi, sitting in that seat in my car. I would do something like that. So that's kind of interesting. So I thought that was just kind of a PR thing. I think the testing area limitations, like I say, I love Tesla FSD, but there are times when it doesn't work great. Obviously, snow, rain, really bad weather, bad lighting situations. It's cameras, and it just doesn't function that great. So it's going to take a long time before I would turn FSD on in a blizzard. It may never do it. And I drive in blizzards. I Uber drive when it's snowing sideways. So that there's that. Some interesting things at the electric car. And yes, most of my rides are short rides, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But charging is a big, big challenge. It really is because it's an electric car. So this isn't a robo-taxi thing as much as an electric car thing. It's not that I'm worried about running out of electricity. What it is I have all these short trips and my battery's draining. And I know there's a charging station over here. Well, it takes me 5 to 10 minutes to drive to that charging station. And let's say it takes 10, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever to charge the car, and it fluctuates. And that's to drive back into the zone where there's rides. So a 10-minute, or let's say it takes 20 minutes to charge the car to go from 20 to 60% battery or something like that. And a level 4 charger that's doing 350 kilowatts or whatever the right phrasing is. Okay. I still have to drive 10, 20 minutes there and then 10, 20 minutes back in to the location. So charging in that logistics is a big deal. And the problem is you don't want your vehicle to get down to 20% or 10% in range, because every now and then you're going to want to do a long trip. You'll get offered a trip that you can't take because your car doesn't have enough battery and you don't have enough time to go charge it, if that makes sense. So you're going to go from city to city. So here in Syracuse, I go from Syracuse to Watertown, Syracuse to Ithaca, Syracuse to Binghamton or whatever. So I have to have enough charge to get me to those locations in addition to the charge of what I'm covering. So you don't want your battery to get so low that you can't take a long trip. And I think an algorithm can solve for that if there's enough vehicles in a network, but that is a thing. Vehicle cleanliness, we talked about that. Passengers' behavior, which is kind of along with vehicle cleanliness. But if there wasn't a human in the car, I think passengers are going to do a lot of illicit things, drugs, smoking, drinking, whatever. And I'm telling you, cameras will kind of get it, but cameras kind of can't also get it. They'll do, gross things. I've had people, even with me in the car, try to do the deed. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop. I got a camera. But if there's no supervision, and I'm sure Waymo is coming up with some solutions, but that's kind of interesting. There's that. I think the coordination of pickups and drop-offs is really, really interesting to me. Uber drivers, if you know what I'm talking about, picking up a passenger isn't always as simple as it seems. They're not at the location that they put on the map. Passengers are not using the maps perfectly. And you and I as drivers, we have to intuitively go, oh, this is how we're going to solve this problem. This is what we're going to do. A good example would be, I'm going down a one-way street. Let's say there's 3 lanes. And the passenger put the pickup on the right-hand side, but I can see them logically because I'm a human and I'm observing. Oh, that's probably my passenger over there on the left. Now, an autonomous car is going to go over to the right-hand side. And to cross that street might take some time or may not take time at all. The passenger may not notice that their car across the street from them. They're not going to see the car over there because passengers are dumb like that. They're like, where are you? Like, I'm right in front of you. So the coordination of pickups and drop-offs can be a challenge. Just yesterday, imagine 2 one-lane roads or dead-end roads, one here and one here that dead ends at my fingers, right? And there's a main road down here. The passenger put the pickup right in the middle of this building right here. Now, I know, because I'm smart, that the exit to the building is over here on this road, but the passenger put the pickup on this side. And now, but I can see them on the map. So I drove over to this side and I said, hey, do you want me to meet you over here? And I coordinated. But my point is like, coordination to pick up and drop off is not as easy as you think. And I think an autonomous car is just going to park in the middle of the road, or they're going to double park. They're going to make messes of that. And they're going to have to solve for that. Okay. So what are my solutions to all this? All this kind of thought. And this is a free flow of thought. So thank you so much for bearing with me on this. Okay, autonomous cars, it's the future. It's happening. My job, my days are numbered. Would I put my personal car on the street? No, I wouldn't, because I think passengers are going to destroy it without me being there. Okay, so what is the solution to that? Right now, there is a rating system. Either you're 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, or whatever. And that kind of works. I think what I would do if I was Tesla, and this is the most important part of the video here, I would come up with a solution that rewards passengers with discounts and stuff like that. So what are the things that I would reward a passenger for? Speed in the pickup. So imagine if you're going to order 100 Tesla Robotaxis, and 99 out of 100 times you are there at the spot when the car arrives, and that pickup only takes 1 minute. Let's say it's a 60-second. You get rewarded. So after 99 or 100 1-minute pickups, you get a free ride. Does that make sense? Because the pickup and drop-offs, the speed in which that transaction takes place is huge for drivers, and cars just sitting there parked, either blocking traffic, double parked, or just wasting money sitting there parked, not moving. You, as an autonomous car company, want that car moving. So reward passengers for a 60-second pickup. Does it make sense? That's kind of cool, right? Here's another idea. This one's a little bit harder to implement. Passengers rate cars when they get into it. So if it's a 5-star ride, they get in the car and they're like, oh, this is perfectly clean. They have to rate it right at that moment. And what they're doing is they're rating the previous passengers. And it would be like a slowly decreasing scale. So if they get in the car and it's super messy, they go, oh, this is horrible messy, go 1 star. And what they're doing is they're rating the previous passenger. But they're also, that previous passenger may have also, so you can measure as an autonomous car company who was the actual culprit that caused the mess to some extent. And if you have a clean record, again, you get like a free trip or something like that. If you have a clean record over 100 trips or something like that. I think that there's that. And I think you can also be rewarded with nicer experiences. If you're highly rated, you get access to the entertainment system or something like that. You get faster pickups. It would probably be better, actually. You get a faster pickup. So passengers are going to want to have highly rated ratings. And there's a lot of other ways we can do that, but I think that's the direction I would go. If I could see that rating system, I would buy a couple of Tesla Robotaxis and put them on the network. I think that would be good, because then I can start to coordinate. If I can geofence locations I'm going to pick up, if I could set my own fares, it would be pretty cool. There's a lot more to it. This is just kind of initial free flow of thoughts that is coming out, and I wanted to share with you guys my thoughts as a Tesla driver that uses Tesla FSD, as an Uber driver. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? You probably have a lot of thoughts, don't you? You know, I created this channel for Uber drivers. I wanted to help drivers make the most amount of money, be safe, be healthy, be happy. And that's really what I created this about. And that's why I created Thrive. Thrive is a subscription on my website. It's also here on the YouTube channel. It's nominal cost. It really just a chance for you to get some tools. I have calculators on my website. I have videos to show you how to be a better Uber driver. So please join Thrive if you can. And to my fellow drivers for 2025, I want you to drive your way. There's going to be a lot of great advice, bad advice too, hopefully from me, from anybody else. And you're unique. You're a unique person. And I want you to drive your way in 2025. So be well, be safe, and know that I'm cheering for you. Bye.